Israel's defense forces are reporting a growing soldier shortage at a moment when some analysts warn Iran may be preparing for a wider escalation, a combination that officials say complicates long-term planning. Tens of thousands of eligible Israelis have not reported for conscription or have otherwise avoided enlistment, a trend military leaders describe as a major recruitment challenge. Concerns have risen within the IDF as US forces scale back direct involvement in parts of the region, a shift some observers say could alter deterrence dynamics on the battlefield. The Israel Defense Forces have confirmed a substantial manpower shortfall amid simultaneous operations on multiple fronts, raising questions about readiness and unit rotation. Reports indicate the manpower gap is expected to widen over the coming months as personnel are stretched and recruitment shortfalls persist. The first cohort of troops who signed up under shortened enlistment terms are due to be discharged in January 2027. A timeline officials warn could further reduce available ranks if replacements are not mobilized. A senior IDF officer told the Times of Israel on May 20 that the service is facing a pronounced shortage, marking an official acknowledgement of the scale of the problem. Military planners project unfilled positions will rise from about 12,000 to roughly 17,000, a jump that could strain sustainment, rotations, and operational planning. Separate reports say around 32,000 people have been classified as draft evaders, while an additional estimated 50,000 eligible recruits failed to present themselves for enlistment when called, compounding the shortfall. The IDF official said, and I quote, "We will very soon reach the region of 80,000 to 90,000 draft dodgers. The army is prepared to absorb twice as many Haredim as are currently enlisting," unquote. Tayyip's public warning came days after IDF Chief Lieutenant General Eyal Zami said the military urgently needs more soldiers, underscoring growing alarm at the highest levels of Israel's defense establishment. Lieutenant General Zami has urged the government to extend mandatory service to 36 months rather than the current 30, arguing longer terms will help plug critical manpower gaps and sustain operational readiness. In interviews and briefings cited by the Times of Israel, IDF officials warned the military could face collapse in certain functions if manpower shortages are not addressed, language that highlighted the severity of the crisis. The IDF previously told lawmakers that about 80% of documented draft evaders come from the ultra-Orthodox community, a statistic officials cited when discussing targeted policy and enforcement responses. Iran's foreign minister reacted on May 19 to a U.S. congressional assessment tied to the recent war. Araghchi warned that more surprises could be coming after the U.S. acknowledged the loss of dozens of aircraft. Abbas Araghchi said, and I quote, "Months after initiation of war on Iran, U.S. Congress acknowledges loss of dozens of aircraft worth billions. Our powerful armed forces are confirmed as first to strike down a touted F-35. With lessons learned and knowledge we gained, return to war will feature many more surprises." Unquote. The newly released congressional report said the U.S. military had lost at least 42 aircraft. The assessment was reportedly prepared for Congress using information from the Pentagon, CENTCOM, and media reporting. The U.S. was said to have lost fighter jets, surveillance aircraft, refueling planes, combat rescue helicopters, and UAVs. The report estimated the total cost of those aircraft losses at roughly $2.6 billion. However, lawmakers were also said to have warned that the real damage figure could be significantly higher, according to Press TV. Press TV on U.S. congressional assessment said, and I quote, "Among the aircraft destroyed or damaged were 4 F-15E Strike Eagle fighter jets, 1 F-35A Lightning II, 1 A-10 Thunderbolt II, 7 KC-135 Stratotanker refueling planes, and 1 E-3 Sentry airborne warning and control aircraft." The report also listed the loss of 2 MC-130J Commando II aircraft, 1 HH-60W Jolly Green II, 24 MQ-9 Reaper drones, and 1 MQ-4C Triton. Unquote. War tensions rose again despite Trump pausing fresh strikes amid what were described as signs of progress in negotiations. Trump has reportedly given Iran just 2 to 3 days to strike a deal and bring the war to an end.
Well, I don't know about changing the regime. I can do that. Whether you change the regime or not, it's been a rough regime. They've killed a lot of people, but it's a country that really needs help. It has nothing. They can't turn on the lights. They can't eat. We don't want to see that.
How much money did the Gulf Coast have for going strikes before they
They called me over the last 2 days to say they made a lot of progress because we have them negotiating with us. And primarily Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, a little bit, and Bahrain, and some of the others. And we have them negotiating with them. We're all working together. It's like a team. And Israel, of course, and Israel's been a great partner. And so we are negotiating together. I got a call from numerous of these people. They know the people in Iran. Don't forget, when you talk about regime change, I think it's the ultimate regime change because the first level and the second level are no longer with us. They're someplace, but they're no longer with us. So we have real regime change. But I got a call yesterday, sir, could you wait? We think we're close to a deal. And that's okay. Now, I've heard it before with these people, and they change their mind. I made deals with them, no nuclear. We immediately get the nuclear dust. And they said, you're the only one can get it because the bombers did such an unbelievable job that the mountain literally collapsed on top of it. They said us, and they thought China would be the only two countries that could even get it. But I think it's important to get it, maybe psychologically more than anything else.
How long did they know that you were planning?
They knew I was getting ready to attack. I didn't tell them. I never tell anybody when.
You're in constant contact?
I never tell anybody when, but they knew that we were very close. I would say I was an hour away from making the decision to go today. And we would probably not be talking about a beautiful ballroom today. We'd be talking about that. And I had made the decision. So they called up. They had heard I made the decision. They said, sir, could you give us a couple of more days? Because we think they're being reasonable.
How long are you take for Iran to come?
Well, I'm saying 2 or 3 days, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something, maybe early next week, a limited period of time. Because we can't let them have a nuclear weapon. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would start with Israel. They would blow it up, and they would blow it up fast, but they'd blow it up. And I'll tell you what, they go after Saudi Arabia, they go after Kuwait, they go after UAE, they go after Qatar, I think they go after the entire Middle East, and it would be a whole different negotiation. It would be nuclear holocaust. And there's no question in my mind that they'd use it. There's no question. And I deal with these people. They're extremely radicalized. These are not people like what I deal with you. You're a very nice guy. These are people that are seriously radicalized. They would use it. The only question, would it be the first minute, the first hour, or the first day?
How to pause at some times. There come a point soon where you're no longer...
I'm not doing this politically. I'm just, look, everyone tells me it's unpopular, but I think it's very popular. When they hear that it's having to do with nuclear weapons that could take out Los Angeles, could take out major cities very quick. When they hear that, when they're explaining, I'll tell you what, when we explain it to people, I don't really have enough time to explain to people. I'm too busy getting it done. When they understand, I think it's frankly very popular, but whether it's popular or not popular, I have to do it. Because I'm not going to let the world be blown up on my watch. It's not going to happen.
Meanwhile, details have also emerged about how Iran could respond if the United States launches new strikes.